To compute the standard deviation using the graphing calculator, okay, I'm going to open my calculator emulator. You can follow along, of course. I'll try to do this at a slower pace so you can follow me here. Well, number one, so you want to go to the stat button here. And in fact, what's really nice about this emulator here is that I will have the key history here, so you can either follow the steps of keys that I do, and along with the video that I will upload later to my YouTube channel. And you want to edit, because you want to edit a list of elements to do the calculation on. Click enter. And well, if you have other data set, just make sure to erase it. For example, let me do something real quick. 9 5 87 5 5 for another 5. Well, let's say you have some data already. If you want to get rid of the data without erasing one at a time, go to the top. Make sure the L1 is highlighted right here and just click delete. And it's going to delete everything. Be careful, because if you click on the clear button, it's going to delete the whole line, and I believe that's what happened here, right? You know what I'm going to do when that happens? Okay, let me do that again to show you what not to do. So I'm going to do the clear button instead. Okay, okay, it's not clearing it. Oh, yes, you just do, oh, okay, I think I did it the wrong way. So let me do 9 and 9, do it again, delete. Oh, yes, the delete is the wrong one, not the clear, okay? Yeah, so, well, it's recorded on the video, so you know what not to do. Okay, so how do I retrieve L1 and L2? Reset the calculator to factory settings. So second mem, and I'm going to reset number 7 and number 1 all RAM. And reset RAM, well, yes, number 2 reset. And RAM is clear, second quit. Let me clear the history so you don't get confused about this. And again, I'm going to go back to stat. And I'm going to edit, and L1 and L2 are back. All right? So now let's populate the list with elements from the data set that I had. So that's 72, go down, and then 73, go down, 76, another 76, and 78. So we got everything we need. So we just input the data in L1. And let's get out of this list. To do that, number 1, we click second and mode to reach the quit. And it's going to take us back to the screen where we do all the calculations. Since we already have the data stored, we're ready to perform a statistical calculation. To do that, let's click again on stat. And well, you have another option, not to edit. We don't want to edit anything. We actually want to do some calculation. I'm gonna go to the right, and I'm gonna go to one of our stats. Okay, one of our stats. Click enter, and list L1. Okay, notice this L1 is gonna show by default unless you change it, unless you want to do the calculation for another data set, which we will, just so I can show you how to work. I'm going to input the data for the second team on another column, and then I'm going to show you how to get that for the second column. All right, the frequency list, we're going to leave it blank because we are not finding the one var stats for frequency distribution, which we will do later. We are actually just getting the one var stats for a simple data set. L1, that's fine. I'm gonna scroll down the arrow, make sure the calculate is highlighting, and click enter. And it's gonna give you everything. But let me explain everything here, okay. This X bar This x bar is the mean. Isn't that the same value we obtained from the very beginning? Well, that's the summation of the x's, the summation of the x's. Don't even look at that one. Now, here's a part where we need to be very, very careful, especially when including context to these kind of calculations. Notice we have two different standard deviations. Here, we will see the letter S. That's the standard deviation for the sample, while this sigma x is the standard deviation of the population. So depending on what are we working on, are we working on a sample? Are we working with a sample, or are we working with a population? So in this particular case, for the basketball players, they were representing a sample, and it was clearly stated in the instructions of the problem. So always look for that keyword on an exercise, because it's a very common mistake to use the wrong standard deviation. As for the mean, it doesn't matter. For the mean, it's always the same whether this is a population or a sample. So that doesn't change at all. So there's no way to go wrong with a mean. And well, doesn't that match the same 2.4? Let's see. Let's go back. Wait a minute. For whatever reason, no, I did. Didn't I subtract?
I got 2.4.
2.4 over here. Yes, I think I got it from here. It's 2.4. That's true. Thank you. No, I was reading at. Oh yes, that was a side note. Yes, never mind. 2.4. All right. Okay. Now let's keep playing with the graphing calculator and use the different columns. So I'm going to repeat this process, but now for the second set of players in this case. So let me quit. Second quit. I'm going to click stat. And I'm going to edit this. However, you don't want to delete the L1. So my advice: don't delete it. Don't delete the entries. And go to L2. That way we can actually play with the different L's right here. And I'm going to show you how to get that L2 in a minute. That's the point of repeating the exercise. So what do we have? 67, and then 72, 76, another 76, and 84. We're done editing. We're done editing the list of numbers, the L2. So I think we are ready to quit, to get out of here. So second quit. And let's go about the stat. Okay, stat. I'm going to calculate one of our stats. Same thing, one of our stats. However, notice the list that is relating that calculation is for L1, and we don't want to get the one var stats for L1 anymore because we already got them in the previous exercise. So you might want to change this to L2. However, it might be a little tricky to get that L1. Okay, you want to get the L2 in this case. To do that, well, look at your graphing calculator. Notice how the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3 has second functions. And you can see the number 1 has an L1 in blue. All right? The number 2 has an L2. And well, you want to reach that L2 that is in blue. So every function, every secondary function on the bottom that is in blue requires that we first click on seconds, and then that's where the L2 is going to be at. All right? So we're done essentially selecting the second list. Now we're ready to calculate. And it's right there, right? 75 for the mean, same average, but now the sample standard deviation and the population standard deviation, notice they are larger numbers, right? Well, we can see that from the picture that the difference in the height of the basketball players, it can be seen. And also analyzing the data set using this picture, well, look at the range. It's, of course, an indicator that it's going to give us a higher value of the standard deviation. And as opposed to what was this one, 2.4 versus 6.24? I mean, I think we can see the difference one way or another. The calculator, the picture with the basketball players, or the number line to represent the deviation of the value. So hopefully the three different ways that we use to represent it is consistent for you, and we can see what this is about. All right. What else do we have?